Hello, and welcome back to Urban X Files. My name is Key, and today we are going to talk about some haunted houses that have been reported in the Liverpool Echo, right across Merseyside. Not just haunted houses, but buildings. And the first one on the list is Nugent Park. Now, for those of you who have watched my videos before will know I've covered Nugent Park, but Nugent Park has quite a bit of strange history. It was built in the 1800s and it was used as a seamen's orphanage, and then it was used in the 50s as a mental hospital for the insane. Now, in 1997 is when the hospital had finally closed its doors because a lot of mental health had been put out into the community rather than sectioning people and putting them in institutions. So it's got quite a lot of spooky stuff that goes along with it. The next part is about a road called Southbrook Road in Liverpool. Now, there is a lady called Lorna MacDonald, and she had to call in priests because her Belvale home had forced one of her children to move from the property because she was plagued by what she felt was demonic entities, which made it...
What kind of things have happened while you've been here?
The mirrors were shaking on the wall, and neighbours have been trying to protect me. I've had bruises all over.
So that is listed as number 2 in this list, and the 46-year-old claimed to have seen demonic shapes and witnessed mirrors flying off the wall and other bits of ornaments being thrown across. So that is a pretty scary thing. Now, a researcher into the paranormal had found some pretty intriguing information. Although this story was published in the Liverpool Echo in 2014, there is a so-called expert of the paranormal, who I won't mention his name on this channel because he's caused me a lot of stress and issues for no reason. Southbrook Road derives its name from Chilwell Brook, which once ran through the road on which 34 houses are now built. And the house, which is perpetrated to be the lair of a demon, is situated on the land which once belonged to the Ivy Farm, just one of the infamous spots where a sinister and ancient band of occultists known as the Lily White Boys. And for those that have followed me for a while will have I've explained what the Lily White Boys are and done a video about them. They used to hold their bonfire rituals on this specific part of land. According to the guy who's supposed to be an expert, has said that the land that's bounded by Belvale, Chilwell Golf Course, Heighton, Corte and Page Moss has some sacred relevance to where the Lily White Boys would conduct their devil worship, and it's been the scene of some strange rituals, and there was one that dates back to the 1500s, so it goes over some time. And next on the list is that of the famous Penny Lane. Penny Lane was made famous by the Beatles. Now, aside from the Beatles singing about Penny Lane, the street is named after a Liverpool slave ship owner but most people just associate it with the name of the 1967 hit from the Beatles. And excuse me, and those who don't associate the street name with the Beatles associate it with the Penny Lane poltergeist. Now, it says that number 44 Penny Lane had been home to a very durable poltergeist that had first become active in the Victorian times. A young girl combing her hair, her long blonde hair, also appears at the window of the house, but her identity still remains a mystery. The next building on the list is that of the very famous, world famous, Delphi Hotel, situated in Liverpool city centre. Now, guests have claimed to have spotted spirits wearing naval uniforms, and staff have also seen a person hanging out of a window in the Crosby room, only to learn that the room was empty and the window was locked to stop people from doing this. There's also a ghostly figure of a man named George, who's also rumoured to make an appearance by the bedside of guests during the night. There are quite a few list of experiences that have happened at the Delphi Hotel. In fact, there's enough to make a full video just on this building. But what I will do, I will at some point this year book into the Delphi Hotel and conduct an investigation to see if we can find some more evidence. Now, I do know that the building had been hit in the war. I do know that there's a famous story that says, I think it's in Chester, where they see Roman soldiers walking through, but it's only from their knees. Everything below the knee seems to be stuck underneath the floor. Now, there's something similar in the Adelphi Hotel, and it just so happens that there was damage done. I think it was possibly from the war. So they elevated the floor on this specific level, which would then give any potential ghosts who were walking on what once was the land, it would be their ground floor, so they're walking on the ground floor. But what it looks like to people from these days, when they witness this thing, it looks like they're walking on the knees because of the level that had changed. Next on the list is a stunning building in Liverpool. The building is well known and thankfully is open to the public. It's Croxteth Hall. Croxteth Hall it's just a fabulous building. I've done a couple of drone shots over Croxteth Hall. One day hopefully we'll be able to get inside and investigate it. Now, the Croxteth Hall was home of the Molyneux family, who are the Earls of Sefton, from the 16th century right up until 1972, and the last Earl then passed away. Now, as there was no heirs when the last Earl passed away, the house transferred to Lady Sefton, and I think she passed away in 1979, and the house was then transferred to the National Trust. So it's kept and run and kept to a really nice high standard. They do weddings there. I've filmed quite a few weddings in Croxteth. It's such a beautiful building. Now, there are many haunted stories associated with Croxteth Hall. People have heard sounds of servants in the kitchen, and others claim to have seen a ghost of a housemaid, and many claim to smell tobacco when nobody's around. Also, now these days you're not allowed to smoke in buildings like this, so it is a bit strange. Next on the list we have Bidston Hill, and Bidston Hill is one of the most highest points in Wirral, and it stretches out over 100 acres of land and has historic buildings with ancient rock carvings. The famous windmill was built in 1800, and people are known to travel from all over the world to visit this specific spot. However, some of those who made the trip got more than they bargained for, as visitors have reported seeing ghosts walk around the mill, and there's a spooky figure that is said to be a former mill worker who was murdered early in the 19th century. Next on the list we have one of Liverpool's oldest and most beautiful buildings. This is Speke Hall, and Speke Hall was built over 400 years ago to the devout Catholic Norris family. Now, over the years, many visitors have claimed to be seeing ghosts roaming around Speke Hall, including, as always, a white lady, a grey lady, a Victorian gardener, and a priest. There is also links to Speke Hall and werewolves, but that's a story for another day, another video. There are footsteps that are often heard on the upper corridors and the sound of children crying. There have also been reports of visitors feeling a sudden nauseousness while walking around the premises in certain rooms, and a former warden at the site had told reporters in the Liverpool Echo that he'd always had an open mind, but he was more skeptical than anything else. But that all changed when he started to work in Speke Hall. He said you would always hear girls chatting in the servants' quarters, to the point where we would always say good morning as we walked in, he said. So this guy's job was to admit people into the house to get the door for when people had to walk along the stone bridge and ring the bell. But many times he'd hear footsteps coming down the bridge, and as he went out to greet them, nobody was there. There's also a famous story about one of the ladies giving birth and finding something out, and had thrown her baby out of the window and into the moat below. That the baby that had been thrown out the window had died, and both his ghost and the mum's ghost were walking round the grounds, because she also then was meant to have killed herself. But these famous or infamous ghost stories aren't what actually happened is not quite true, as he went on to live a long and healthy life. But yes, Speke Hall has a list of ghost stories that we could fill a whole section on, so we will come back to that soon.